Yeah, it's a combination of me doing a lot of research into what's been going on. And in fact, I read through the relevant parts of that Texas lawsuit that names Michigan and three other states. I carefully wanted to see what the amicus brief was going to look like, but certainly the feedback that we've been getting. And this isn't just Republicans. This is independents, Democrats, and which frankly mirror what we see in national polls, that there's concerns about how this campaign was conducted. Sometimes it's regarding machinery. Sometimes it's regarding the process. And what the Texas lawsuit and what this amicus brief is really about is the process, and that's the point of the amici coming forward, and all of us saying, hey, wait a minute, we don't think things were done by Jocelyn Benson the way that it's prescribed in Michigan law. And add on top of that some of the way that Wayne County may have handled those absentee ballots. There's some real questions, and people ought to have their day in court. And when it's one state suing another state, that means they get to hear it here in the Supreme Court.
And one thing you specified is the absentee applications that were sent out.
Yeah.
Is that really what you have what you find to be the biggest issue, or do you also question the actual process of how our election ran?
So what the Texas lawsuit and what this amicus brief is about the absentee ballot distribution and how that happened and how that may have affected the election. It does talk a bit about what happened in Wayne County as well, but there's a lot of questions. As I said, sometimes it's about the equipment, specifically Dominion. Interestingly enough, in West Michigan, Allegan County and Kent County both use Dominion. Yesterday, they started with spot audits. They go in and they hand count and check. It was Precinct 2 in Layton Township, and I think it was Precinct 2 in Byron Township in Kent County. And my understanding is both of those audits exactly were the same as what had been produced by the equipment. So again, this is really about making sure that that people in Texas, but also in Michigan, are getting their day in court and having an opportunity to be heard.
Okay, so related to the absentee applications that were sent out in Michigan, specifically, there was an August ruling by the Court of Claims that Secretary Benson was within her right to mail those out. So do you not agree with that ruling, or where's your stance on that?
Yeah, well, I think the Supreme Court needs to weigh in on that, because I don't believe that lines up with what the U.S. Constitution says in Article 2 and Section 1 and Clause 2 about how electors are to be selected. It says that the state legislature has to lay out the process by which that's done. They did that. Now, we had a Michigan court say, well, the Michigan law says this, but we're going to let the Secretary of State do something different. I don't personally think that's the right thing, but we're going to see, because this is an odd conflux of locally run elections overseen by a state, which then are constitutional and therefore federal. So you've got all layers of government kind of coming together, and so I think it's appropriate for the U.S. Supreme Court to weigh in on this.
Do you at all fear that by taking this to the Supreme Court, and because of all of the attention the election has gotten, obviously with social media, everything layered into that, will this undermine people's faith in our elections going forward at all?
We're still a couple of days short of how long it took Al Gore to concede after he lost in the Supreme Court twice. All right. So if that had happened, that happened 20 years ago. What we're dealing with now, though, is a lack of faith in what had gone on by a lot of people. Again, I've heard from independents, Republicans, but also Democrats who are saying, yeah, it just didn't seem right, didn't feel right. This is an odd thing. We're kind of blowing past a number of commonly accepted practices simply because of COVID. Well, commonly accepted practices are also oftentimes legal practices. And so just because we have a pandemic going on doesn't mean we should ignore the Constitution.
Okay. If the Supreme Court rejects this lawsuit, what will your next move be?
Yeah, I don't know that there's another direction to go specifically. And again, this is really the request that we are saying People of Michigan ought to have their election process examined. Texas is obviously leading the charge on that. At that point, I don't know that there's anything else in the wings that I'm aware of.
So will you accept Joe Biden as the next president should the Supreme Court toss this case out?
We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So we've got a few steps before that's going to happen, and we've got to get through the Electoral College process, which is going to be coming up as well.